So when you hear the name P.T. Barnum, what pops into your head? Probably the circus, right? Spectacle, maybe a little bit of, well, humbug. He was the greatest showman on earth, after all. But what if I told you that this master of entertainment also wrote one of the most practical, timeless, and, believe it or not, profound guides to personal finance ever? It's a bit of a paradox, isn't it? The guy who supposedly said there's a sucker born every minute is going to give us honest-to-goodness advice on building wealth? Well, turns out beneath that huge, larger-than-life personality was a brilliant and incredibly shrewd businessman. And he had some serious, hard-won wisdom about money, success, and life itself. Okay, let's dive right in.
So that's the big question we're tackling today. Let's forget the elephants and the acrobats for just a minute. We're going to unpack how the man who basically invented the modern circus can also totally revolutionize the way you think about your money. We're digging deep into his classic book, The Art of Money Getting, to pull out these secrets that are just as powerful today as they were way back in the 19th century. And you might be really surprised to find that his secrets to wealth have very little to do with get-rich-quick schemes or flashy showmanship. It's really all about timeless principles, things like character, discipline, and having a real purpose.
All right, here's our game plan. First up, we're talking about the absolute foundation, choosing your life's work. Then we'll get into mastering your money before it ends up mastering you. After that, we'll explore what Barnum considered the most valuable asset you could ever have, and it's not what you think. From there, we'll break down the huge difference between just being rich and being truly successful. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with his ultimate lesson on the real point of making money in the first place.
Okay, let's get into it. First up, choosing your vocation. Now for Barnum, this wasn't just some nice, fluffy, feel-good piece of advice. No way. For him, this was the non-negotiable, concrete and steel foundation of your entire financial life. If you get this part wrong, you're essentially building your house on sand. Everything, and I mean everything else, your income, your happiness, your ability to push through when things get tough, it all flows from this one critical decision. This is step one, and you absolutely cannot skip it.
So Barnum wants you to just pause for a second and ask yourself this question with some real brutal honesty. Are you in a job that feels natural, that actually energizes you, one that aligns with who you really are? Or are you just going through the motions, just collecting a paycheck, watching that clock tick down to 5 o'clock? So many of us fall into careers for all the wrong reasons. Maybe it's what our parents wanted for us, or what seemed practical in college, or we just kind of followed the path of least resistance. Barnum says this is the first and maybe the most destructive financial mistake anyone can make.
So what's the solution? Well, Barnum's advice is incredibly clear and direct. He says the safest plan, his words, for financial success is to find work that genuinely fits you. What are you naturally good at? What are you truly curious about? It's about not trying to force a square peg into a round hole. He saw this happen all the time. Parents pushing their super creative, artistic kid to become a lawyer, or forcing someone who loves working with their hands to sit behind a computer all day. He saw that as a recipe not just for financial failure, but for a truly miserable life.
And this really shows the two paths that choice creates, right? When you're in the right vocation, the work itself brings you a certain kind of joy. You're way more likely to stick with it when things get hard. You're more likely to innovate, to learn, and to really excel. Success almost becomes this natural byproduct of you just being you. But if you're in the wrong vocation, whoa, it is a constant, exhausting battle. Barnum describes it as paddling against the tide. You're fighting your own nature every single day, and that struggle just drains the very energy you need to actually get ahead and build something meaningful.
Okay, so let's say you found the right path. Now we have to talk about the money itself. For Barnum, money has this dual nature. On one hand, it can be an incredibly powerful tool for building a great life, a loyal servant that works for you 24/7. Or it can be a destructive, tyrannical master that traps you. The difference all comes down to one single thing: discipline. So how do we make sure money stays our servant? Let's find out.
This is one of Barnum's most powerful and honestly most unforgettable metaphors: working for a dead horse. It sounds pretty grim, right? And it's supposed to. Barnum, the master showman, he knew the power of a memorable image. He wanted this phrase to get stuck in your head, to act like a giant, blaring alarm bell every single time you're tempted to fall into one of the most common financial traps there is. A trap that keeps people poor no matter how hard they work.
So what does he mean by that? Imagine buying something on credit you don't really need. A fancy dinner, a weekend trip, the newest gadget. That enjoyment, it's fleeting. It's gone in a flash. But the debt sticks around. You are now spending your future time, your future labor, your precious life energy to pay for something that gives you zero current value. You are literally working for a dead horse. It's the ghost of a purchase you made in the past, haunting your present paycheck. It's all work with absolutely no forward progress.
And Barnum lays out these dangers with chilling clarity. First, he says this habit of borrowing for things you don't need isn't a one-time mistake. It creates a vicious, grinding cycle that's hard to escape. Second, he warns us, and I love this line, never forget that creditors have excellent memories. Oh yeah, they will come knocking. And finally, the real killer, interest. When you're earning it, it's a wonderful thing. But when you're paying it, it is a relentless, terrible master that enslaves you day and night. When you're in debt, you're not just losing money, you are losing your freedom.
Barnum had another brilliant analogy for this. He said, money is like fire. Under control in a fireplace, it's an incredibly useful servant. It can cook your food, warm your home, power industry. But if that fire gets out of control, it becomes a destructive master, a wildfire that will burn down every single thing you've built. The exact same thing is true for your money. If you manage it with care and discipline, it serves you. If you don't, it will consume you. So the big question is, how do you keep it from becoming the master?
The solution is so beautifully, powerfully simple. Pay as you go. Live within your means. Do not spend money you have not earned yet. Look, it's not a sexy, get-rich-quick scheme. It is the exact opposite. But, according to Barnum, it is the fundamental, unbreakable rule for ever achieving financial stability. And this simple discipline, it isn't really about deprivation, it's about declaration. It's you declaring your financial independence. It is the lock on the cage that keeps that terrible master from ever getting out.
But look, avoiding debt is only half the battle. That's just playing defense. How do you go on offense? For Barnum, the ultimate financial strategy, the one that unlocks opportunities that other people can only dream of, it wasn't about clever investments or some secret market knowledge. Nope, it was about mastering something far more fundamental, your own character.
This quote, this is the absolute heart of his entire philosophy. In a world of deals and negotiations, where a little white lie or cutting a corner might seem like a shortcut to profit, Barnum is absolute. Long before we had terms like personal brand or reputation management, Barnum understood this instinctively. Your integrity, your reputation for being unshakably honest, is the most valuable currency you will ever possess. It's not just some moral ideal. For him, it was a cold, hard financial asset. So what are the actual tangible benefits? Well, Barnum argues that strict honesty is the bedrock of all success. Why? It's simple, because a person known for their integrity commands trust. And with that trust comes access to opportunity. He says an honest person has the purses of all the community at their disposal. Think about it. People want to do business with you, they want to lend to you, they want to partner with you. Just think about the businesses you really trust today. You support them, you recommend them, you give them the benefit of the doubt. That is the power of integrity in action.
And this right here really captures the essence of his argument. A person could have $0 in the bank, but if their word is their bond, their potential is limitless. Their social and financial capital, their credit in the biggest sense of the word, is infinite. People will bet on that person. On the other hand, a dishonest millionaire is truly the poorest person in the room because nobody trusts them. And all that wealth is resting on this fragile foundation of lies that could just collapse at any moment. Let me ask you something. When you hear the word successful, what's the first image that pops into your head? A mansion, a fast car, a huge bank account? For a lot of us, that's kind of the default image. But Barnum would argue that's an incredibly limited and honestly a kind of dangerous way of looking at success. He draws a really hard line in the sand between being rich and being successful. They are not the same thing.
Just let that sink in for a second. Getting rich is not always the same thing as being successful. Barnum knew plenty of wealthy people. He was one of them, and he saw firsthand that so many of them were just utterly miserable. Their families were a mess, they had no real friends, their health was failing, and their lives just lacked any sense of meaning or joy. They had the money, sure, but they were failures in every other way that actually matters. They had won the battle for wealth, but completely lost the war for a good life.
So here it is, the key distinction Barnum wants us all to understand. On one side, you have the people who are merely rich. They've got the big bank accounts, but they're often unhappy and unfulfilled. On the other side, you have the truly successful. These are the honest, virtuous people who live with integrity and with purpose. Now, they may or may not have a ton of wealth, but they have something far more valuable: a deep sense of contentment, strong relationships, and self-respect. For Barnum, that was the real prize. So after all this, after you find the right work, master your money, build your character, where does it all lead? What is the whole point of the art of money getting? If it's not just about piling up as much cash as you can, then what is the ultimate goal? This is where Barnum brings all of his ideas together for the grand finale. A single, powerful conclusion about the true purpose of wealth.
Barnum was a huge Shakespeare fan, and he uses this quote to make such a critical point. Notice the three elements there: money, means, and content. Money is the resource, obviously. Means refers to the methods, the right vocation, the honest approach that we've been talking about, and content, contentment. That's that sense of peace and fulfillment that comes from living a life of integrity. If you're lacking any one of those, it's like trying to sit on a two-legged stool. You are destined to fall over. They are three inseparable friends that have to work together to create a truly stable and fulfilling life.
And this is the ultimate twist from the master showman himself. The art isn't just in the getting, it's in the how and the why. The goal is to make money honestly, through work that you love, and to see that money not as a way to get personal luxuries, but to see it as a tool. A tool for what? In Barnum's incredibly powerful words, a tool for blessing our race, for doing good, for contributing to your community, for making the world just a little bit better. The greatest showman on earth believed the greatest act you could ever perform was a life of purpose, funded by honest work.
So, we'll leave you with this question, straight from the mind of P.T. Barnum. We've seen his definition, and it beautifully ties together wealth with your work, your integrity, and your purpose. But what about you? If you look past the numbers on a screen, what are the real ingredients of a truly successful life? It's a question worth really thinking about. And according to the greatest showman on earth, it might just be the most important financial question you could ever ask yourself.